Hello cherry lovers, today I'm going to be sharing with you my crab Rangoon egg rolls, and you can share this for New Year's Eve or any other time for a delicious snack, and it's quick and it's simple, so stay tuned. Okay guys, we're going to go over the ingredients first. You will be needing 2 8-ounce boxes of softened, remember softened cream cheese, and we're going to be using some Worcestershire sauce. Let me say something real quick about this. I have struggled for years and years trying to figure out how to say this, even after I've looked it up and said, okay, that's how you pronounce it, and then I forget because it's not that easy of a word to pronounce. But I looked it up, I Googled it, and it turns out that this was originated in Britain, and the name is pronounced Worcestershire. Worcestershire is how it's pronounced. The R, of all things that I've always tried to pronounce, is silent. It's actually silent, so it's not Worcestershire, which is what I always said, but it's called It's so funny because you don't hear the R in Worcestershire. Worcestershire, and it takes its last name from the pronunciation of New Hampshire, the way that New Hampshire is pronounced. So anyway, it's pronounced a lot of different ways. It's okay how you pronounce it, as long as we all know that this is what we're using, Worcestershire sauce. Okay, the next thing we're going to be using here is, and by the way, the Worcestershire sauce is, we're going to be using 1 to 2 tablespoons. This sauce is actually for where you get your salt from in this recipe. So you can use 1 to 2 teaspoons. I use 2. Okay, the next thing we're going to have here is 1 teaspoon of garlic, a 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. Oh, and I said teaspoons, I'm sorry. The Worcestershire sauce is actually 1 to 2 tablespoons, and I use 2 tablespoons. And then you want to have 3 stalks of green onions chopped. You don't have to have these finely chopped, but you don't want large chunks either. And then I have here an 8-ounce pack of crab, imitation crab. You can use real crab meat, of course. If that's what your preference is, that'll be fine. And also, you will be using these egg roll wraps, and you're going to be needing about 8 to 10 of these egg roll wraps. And I found these at Kroger's, so they're probably in a lot of different stores. You can get any kind you like. And then vegetable oil. We will see how much vegetable oil we'll use for when we start frying the crab rolls, the crab Rangoon. They're cream cheese crab Rangoon egg rolls. Also, you're going to need a knife for your chopping, and you're also going to need a cutting board to chop them up. And the other thing that I wanted to say is you can use a frying pan. Put your grease in a frying pan. You can fry them up that way, or you can use your little grill, your frying pan. I've got an electric fry pan, or you can use a deep fryer. I will be using a deep fryer today. Okay, now that we've seen the ingredients, let's get started. Okay guys, one of the things I want to show you here is very simple. The crab, I'm using the imitation crab, as I said. You want to finely chop this. Finally. If you're using real crab, you won't have to do this because it'll be broken. It won't be attached, combined together like this. But you want your imitation crab to be finely chopped. So this is what I am doing. Carefully, don't cut yourself. Just slice it up as thin as you possibly can get it, and then turn it and try to also chop that as finely as you can, because you want this to be chopped finely, because you want it to be evenly distributed throughout your cream cheese. And remember, your cream cheese should be at room temperature. And sometimes I get in a rush and I have to make some recipes pretty quick. So I actually put my cream cheese in the microwave for 15-second intervals. But try and remember, if it gets too soft, you may ruin the whole recipe. So it is a lot simpler and a lot easier to just let it sit out in your room until it's softened. Okay, so you want that finely chopped. All right, so now that we got that, now we'll take the time to assemble the rest of the ingredients. I'll be right back. Okay, next we're going to add in, first of all, our cream cheese. Now you can use a food processor, or you can use your hand blender, Or you can actually mix it by hand if you don't have either of those. It'll just take you a little longer to do it by hand, but you could still pull that off. Okay, now we've got our cream cheese. Next, we're going to add in our Worcestershire sauce. I'm using the full 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to put in our garlic powder and our onion powder. And then we're going to add in the green onions. And I'm going to pulse this a few times to get that mixed up. And I might even have to turn on the mixer. So right now we're just going to pulse it. Okay, let me see if I turn that up a little bit. That's not going to do it this time. So I'm going to have to use this that came with the Vitamix with this food processor and see if I can get that to mix up better. There we go. So much easier when you have the tools. I had completely forgotten that I had this tool, and then one of my subscribers messaged me and asked me where was it at. I couldn't remember, but I found it. Okay, now we're going to just take that out. Take that out. Clean that off. And the next thing we're going to do is add in the crab meat. Let's see. And then you're going to pulse it a little bit more until it's completely mixed. I love those onions. Okay, put that back on. Yep. I'm gonna have to continue to use this in there. Sometimes it's harder to get off unless I take it off. There we go. Okay. And you just want to keep mixing that. It's probably going to take less than a minute, but about a minute. And just mix that up until all of your crab meat is mixed in there. Okay, I'm going to finish mixing this up off camera and I'll be right back. Okay guys, now we're going to assemble these. It's really simple. Take your wrap, position it. You want about 2 tablespoons. And put it not quite in the center, but almost. And then roll it. And roll it a second time. And then fold it, and then roll it again. And I got a little cup of water over here. You just want to seal those edges. And it's just that simple. Take another piece. Get you about 2 tablespoons. Not quite in the center, but not quite to the edge. And you want to try to secure it tight as you can get them. Roll it, and then roll it a second time. And then fold it, and then fold it. And then roll it over, and roll it over. Dip your finger, and just seal it together. And this recipe calls for 8 to 10 wraps. You might get 1 less, or you might get 1 more. 2 scoops. Roll it a second time, fold your ends, really simple. And they don't have to be perfect or anything. Roll it again, and then seal it. Mine are never perfect, but they are delicious. So believe me when I tell you, just because they're not rolled perfectly does not mean they don't taste amazing. So, and Larry loves them. He loves the dip even without the rolls on them. And if you like, you can put maybe about a teaspoon of sugar in it. My daughter loves the sweet crab. even though she doesn't like seafood, but she loves the sweet crab meat. Okay, seal that. We're going to do one more, and then we'll finish off camera. Take you a couple of tablespoons, put it not quite in the center, but almost. Roll it again, fold the ends in, roll it, and roll it, and roll it. And then put your little water to seal it. Okay, I'll finish the rest of these off camera, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what they look like. Okay guys, now we're going to set these down in the deep fryer. I have it nice and heated. Mine is on 375. You want to get that really hot before you add these in there. Do not add them in there until this oil is very hot. Then dip them down in there and set your timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'm going to set this on 2 because I'm going to take it out at 1 minute and 30 seconds and then just let them drain. Actually, I'll just set it on 1. You want them to cook for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And then they'll be golden brown. And if you let them get too brown, they're actually going to get hard. So don't think because they're light brown that they're not done, because they are done. So let them cook for about 1.5 minutes. Take them out, put them on some paper towel, and let them drain. And they are delicious. So we will show you the final product in just a few seconds here. Okay guys, that's 1 minute. Ooh, that's a little dark there. See, and that's what happens. And that was only 30 seconds longer. Look at the difference in the color. So you want to definitely take them out right at 1.5 minutes. That's a little dark. So I'm going to actually use one more, put one more in there and leave it exactly 1.5 minutes. That came out a little bit later. And then I'll show you what they look like. Okay guys, as you can see, I've got my fryer here will only hold 4, but you want to put them in where they're not touching. Oh, and another thing I wanted to tell you, when you go to first drop these in, the very first batch that you put in, make sure you dip your little basket in the oil before you put your crab rangoon egg rolls in there, or otherwise they'll stick. And then you can put them in there and drop it down. Now I'm going to set this timer, make sure that I do it this time, for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And then we'll be back to see what the other golden crispy looks like. Okay guys, take a look in this box, in this little fryer. As you can see, these are still a little darker. And what I noticed, and so I want you to be careful of, when you're making these, after you've made 1 or 2 batches, watch them after 1 minute. Because after 1 minute, that's when they start to get darker brown, because this grease has been in the oil. It's been heated for a while. So just be careful. Watch it at 1 minute before it goes to 1 minute and 30 seconds, because that's exactly what just happened to that. Okay guys, I want to show you how delicious these look and how amazing they taste. I'm going to cut this open. I've let them cool for a couple of minutes, and I want you to see that. It's nice. Oh, look at that. But what I want you to see is how you can't really see how it tastes, but I want to show you. You have to take my word for it. That is delicious. So delicious. It's got a nice, excuse me. It's got a nice crispy crust on the outside, juicy on the inside. It makes an amazing snack for any time of the day. Larry loves these. I love these. My family loves these. So I hope you enjoy them. Now, if you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe. And from Larry and Joyce at Heaven's Gates Cherry Farm, Happy New Year to each of you. Bye now.